Saludos y bienvenidos everybody to the PGP podcast. Hey, Josh Tovar, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, SD, Garland, USA, ready to rock and roll with yet another successful episode of EduStar Educators, all but top-notch talent, because you know what? This is a time, and congratulations if you already finished. If you already finished the year like I did, 90 grads, top tier expectations, they've met them right there. But as we're doing right now, we're starting to prepare for the upcoming school year. And this is when you need that time to get away from it all. There's this young lady has a podcast. She talks about disconnected, but not fully disconnecting. She might talk about that in a little bit when we get that opportunity. So, educator, it's about reaching out, because remember, this is part of the Fantastic Four with Sean Hurt on Saturdays at 10 o'clock, Tammy and Shika at 10:30, Principal Cafele El Jefe at 10:55, and finish off the bookend of the Fantastic Four PGP podcast, Puras Ganas podcast. So I'd like to thank you for whenever you're listening to this show. Thank you very much. You could be doing something else, but you are here. So please do a quick thing. Just like it and share it. I don't know about all the other guests. I know I get like $10 million from YouTube every month because I've got so many followers. But you know what? If these words only help one individual, that's what it's all about. It's about iron sharpens iron. And we need you to like it and share it wherever you, whatever social media mode that you have. And universally, some people don't want to be like on X or Facebook, but YouTube, you could get that content, share it out there, and be part of it. In the future, this show is about, there's no specific scope of this program. We have bus drivers, cafeteria workers, principals, instructional aides, superintendents. That's next week, superintendent. And then we have everybody, EduStars all over. So if you got a niche, you want to bring what you have so far, reach out to me, to Dr. Moreno. I don't know where Dr. Moreno is right now. She's somewhere in Houston. I don't know. She's all over the world. Wish it nothing but the best. But it's time for you to prep and enjoy this summer. But before we get started with our happy show number three, we have a young man who will be on our show. I think he's going to be on the show in 4 weeks, which is the curriculum show. Awesome curriculum show. You better not be driving with some kind of Tesla thing right there.
No,
but he has
man, I got my wife driving, man.
All right. So we have a brand new book out there. We have this awesome guest who has been our happy show number 2, and in the future with our curriculum show. George, thank you for being here. Tell the audience about your brand new book.
Hey, everyone. My name is George Valenzuela, Dr. George Valenzuela, newly added. Yeah. And this book has taken 18 years to write. It started back in 2007. I was at a district office in Richmond City Public Schools, and our team at central office every quarter would go into all of the 50 schools, and we would partner with all the instructional leaders in our district. And in 2010, we got our schools fully accredited, all 50 schools in Richmond City. So there's the receipt. Well, anyway, as I started my own business around 2017, I would partner with certain superintendents, certain directors, and we began doing this work. I did my own version of it. Obviously, in my own version, we also include teachers, not just the administrators and not just the coaches, because we want to build trust with our teaching staff. Well, anyway, it's 2025, and I began to, let me back up a little bit. Over the years, I've written all of the practices for Edutopia. And in 2023, I decided to officially write the book. I had enough data, enough know-how, and we put it all together. And now, Instructional Innovation Plus is actually long-term coaching that we can do with schools through Corwin Press, which is my publisher and also PD provider, or PD partner, I should say.
George, right now I know where you're headed. Where you're headed right now, brother?
I am headed home. So you told me 4 o'clock CST. Oh, it is 4 o'clock CST.
It's 4 o'clock, brother. You
I
East
thought it was
Coast.
7.
Life is not about just the East Coast, all right? There's a big glob, all right?
Yeah,
East
my
Coast
bad.
people.
No. Yeah, so I am driving right now, and we are headed home. We were at a Greek festival. I've never been
Nice,
to a Greek festival, but my wife,
nice.
she said that she's gone in previous years every year. And we got to experience some of the culture, some of the food. And my wife saw an old friend downtown, so they had a conversation. And now we're heading back so I can get back to work. That's
All
how it
right,
is, bro.
love it. So where can people reach out to get a hold of you, get more info on the book, and just get some knowledge from you?
Well, all you have to do is Google Instructional Innovation Plus. You can find it on my website, on Corin's website, and also you can find me on all the platforms at my handle at George, Jorge, does PBL. Thank you so much.
And tell them real quick about that podcast.
My podcast is called the Lifelong Learn and Define Podcast for Self-Improvement. It's for educators and also non-educators. It speaks a little bit about business, just anything that will get folks to improve in their own journey, whether it's professional, it's personal, it's fitness, whatever.
Awesome. Thank you, George, for being here. We'll see you in a couple of weeks here for the curriculum show. Appreciate it with another group of EduStars sending out the knowledge of curriculum. But most importantly, thank you for being a great friend of the show. God bless you. Safe travels to you and your wife. Thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Bye-bye. So if you'd like to watch George, he was on our I know I don't have a director here or a producer. We were episode 43 with Katie Kinder, Phil Janowaski, George himself, Josh Stamper, and Beth Hoff was part of Happy Show number 2. Happy Show number 1 was with Lainey Rao, Brandy Godino, the boss educator, and Chaz Perez. And now we're on fire because we're on with show number 3 with awesome EduStar educators from across the United States. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here as part of the PGP podcast. And we're going to go around introducing, because you know what? I've learned one thing. There's name recognition, but we all have certain niches. When I talk about Todd Whitaker, when I talk about Jimmy Casas, when I talk about Principal Cafele, some new people to the field don't know who they are. It takes you a while to get into that field, the stream of education, superstars or educators that are known throughout the United States. Because you know what? If you're able to go to NASSP, TASSP, AACD, and fill up big rooms, you know, you're a star. That's just a fact, Jack. And these are the kind of individuals that we have on the PGP podcast. So we'll start off with Ray up there because you know what? She's always on fire right there. Even if she's sick, she does a podcast. Let me tell you right now. So, and I'm going to preface because I asked this. So to the audience, I asked them because you know what, as educators and people who are authors and people that present at national conferences, sometimes we don't want to be boastful. You know that also, third-year teacher. A coach that won the state championship, you know, you're like, oh, no, it's all the kids. But you know what? You need to talk about the street cred that you have. You have to drop receipts because in our field, if you've never done something, you know, some educators are like, why am I going to listen to you? Why am I gonna? You got no street cred. I ain't gotta listen to you, especially those special team members that we have on some campuses. So I've asked our guests to talk a little bit about themselves and special events. That's the purpose of the Happy Show, so that you know that we're in the best profession, the profession that creates all the other professions, education. So Ray, welcome to the show. Please let the audience know what roles you've been in education. You know, what have you served in, and which one has been your favorite one?
Ooh, I love starting out like this. I love when you describe me as a superstar too. I'm blushing over here, buddy. And it's true. Anytime I'm sick, I don't like missing a podcast episode. We put a podcast episode out every week, at least one, if not a few. So I do it, bad voice and all. If you want to hear me sound terrible, hi everyone in the comments. Feel free to share good evenings and share your feeds with your friends and family in education who might be listening and get benefit from today's episode. Trust me, I know the other educators on this episode. It's going to be a good one. But hi, everyone. My name is Ray Hewart. If you've ever sat in a professional development session that respected your time, gave you actionable tips, and allowed you to also get some of your to-do list done, that's what I get to do. That's what I get to help educators create in their schools. I'm the CEO and founder of Teachers Deserve It, and my background is quite interesting, but everybody's got a story. I was diagnosed SLD in reading, writing, and math early on in second grade, and was the number one biggest hater of school of all time. So if anyone else wants to wear the crown with me, there's a club. And when I decided to go into education, I said, hey, I'm going to go after the worst job ever. And what is the worst teaching job in education as far as from a student's perspective? It would be a middle school math teacher. So that's what I did for over a decade. I loved it. I was a mean old math teacher teaching math, science, writing. It was thebomb.com. My kids were amazing. And I learned a ton. And after that time, I was fortunate enough to get into not only teaching at the university level, working with future educators, but also working with educators across the US and Canada. In 2024, I took a little shift and decided to not only go after my passion for helping educators, but my passion for really ensuring that educators got the stuff that allowed them to be most successful in the classroom, stay in their role in the most happy way ever. And that led me to Teachers Deserve It. So I am thrilled to be connected to all of you and excited for you to meet all these guys, because I'm a big fan of these other educators as well.
What did I tell you? Is that lady not on fire? Boom! Just brought the fire, always with passion. You feel ese amor, esa pasión. I love it right there. Hey, big shout out to John Hurricks, past guest and part of the Fantastic Four family, the number one PR agent for the Fantastic Four, McKeever Jeter out of Illinois. Thank you for being here. Gian Polagno, thank you for being a past guest of the PGP podcast, teacher in, I think, New Jersey. And my sister, Dr. Ashika Houston, part of the Fantastic Four family, being here. Andrea Bittner, woo! Right there, past guest also. And she has honored us at Memorial Pathway Academy with her knowledge. Thank you for being here. Principal El Señor, bienvenido. Tell the audience who you are. If you don't know, you're under a rock, but you know what? There's a lot of new educators. Let them know what different jobs you've had in education and which one was your favorite, my man.
Well, mi hermano, most of these educators new or old, they won't know who I am, because I'm just trying to carry your bags, brother Josh. That's my only goal in life, is I just want to ride along with you and just learn as much as I can about life, but also about bringing happiness to every corner of the earth. As you know, as Ray knows, as Dr. Q knows, all your guests. I love seeing Sheikah. It's my South Carolina family. My mother's from South Carolina, from Charleston. They all know that we need so much joy in our schools. Joy and learning can coexist, in our schools. And I think that's probably the most fabulous part about being on your show today. Because not only do you have amazing fan base, but just the fact that we're trying to, at this time of the year, because you stated that there's some folks that are already done, but people like me, we're still in school, but we're pushing through. And so, for me, I grew up in Philadelphia. My mother moved to New York and then Philadelphia from South Carolina. She raised 6 boys as a single mom. I'm the only one of my mother's children to graduate from college. My mother was a paraprofessional who worked in the schools in Philly, and she just always said, I want you to become a teacher. I want you to become a teacher. And I graduated from college, and I started working in television, Josh. And my mom she was happy that I had a job so I could help pay some bills. And I was working for NBA TV. So every week, every month, I would spend a day with Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Dr. J, just all the David Robinson, just Charles Barkley, which was very, very interesting spending the day with Charles Barkley. But I got invited by one of my former teachers to come and speak to some kids in high school. And I talked to them about how my mother never owned a car, never had a driver's license. And the kids said, well, how'd you get to college every year? And I said, my teachers drove me to school and picked me up. And I'm sure they wanted to make sure that I stayed in school. but I also know that they realize that, teaching is an act of service, an act of love. It's an act of just trying to make as many people happy, as possible. I often tell people that other than the soldier who's fighting in the war right now, that there's no more noble profession than people who are out here serving and serving children, who are serving teachers as administrators and leaders, and also who are helping coach teachers, because that's important as well when we talk about just trying to raise up the folks that are in the trenches. And those students said to me, if you can come in and motivate us, how come you aren't a teacher? And I had no response because they were right. And I quit my TV job and I became a teacher. That was 38 years ago, Josh, 25 years as a principal. And you said, what is my favorite part of the work? Is just being a school leader. I complain about my job often. It's very stressful and there's so many people who pull on you all the time. But there's no other job you can have when you walk into a school or you walk into any building and everybody calls your name. Everybody wants a solution from you. Everybody wants your wisdom and your advice. So leadership is about service. If you don't serve, you can't lead. And so I'm honored to be able to struggle every day, because struggle is learning. And one thing, Josh, but others may not, is that when I was a teacher, I taught in the inner city in Philadelphia. We had a high murder rate. I wanted to teach kids to use their brain to critically think, and I started a chess program. And those students went on to become national chess champions. Arnold Schwarzenegger came to visit our school, challenged one of my girls to a chess match, ladies. And their young lady, Denise, she checkmated Arnold. And Arnold said, "You terminated the Terminator." And then he wrote a book. He wrote the foreword in my first book, I Choose to Stay, which Disney optioned the movie rights. They never made the movie, but it was just such great experience to see those children grow and flourish. Some of them went on to law school and other colleges and universities, and that's how I started my career. And I've never looked back. And I wrote that book in 2003. I Choose to Stay, and here we are, 2025. I'm still a principal, and I'm still staying, and I'm still learning from great people like you, the guest on this show, and also your amazing audience, who I know empower me and lift me and inspire me on a daily basis.
Amen. Amen. My superintendent states that the best gift he could ever give a campus is a great principal. And you know what? Your school has been blessed for years, sir. Your school has been blessed for years, because they're very, very, very fortunate to have someone that has the love and the passion that you bring to the table, and it's totally seen. Right now, hey, and you know what, Principal L, the good thing about Dr. Shika Houston is she's the right South Carolina. She's a Gamecock. She's not that orange school. She's a Gamecock. I'm just putting it out there.
You better be careful, Josh.
I live in Texas. I could say that. A big shout out to Melissa Jones Chunu from Tulsa, Oklahoma, part of our Fantastic Four family. Awesome. And Dr. Q, let everyone know who you are, young lady, and the amor, el amor que tú tienes para esta profesión.
Mucho gusto. Tú no sabes cómo estoy tan contenta de estar aquí contigo, señor Jefe Tovar. I am so honored to be here. I'm Dr. Q, everybody. I also hail from the great state of Texas. And I just want you to know, before I even get started about me, thank you so much for your leadership. Principal Tovar, like, you definitely lead with love, and I'll talk a lot about that today, but you lead with love through your service. You are always giving. I know how hard your seat is, and for you to continue to create spaces to feed teachers and leaders and educators, your service does not go unappreciated. And I just want to let you know that it is an honor to be here with you today, as well as these amazing guests who I'm already very starstruck about. I'm searching y'all and stalking y'all now on Twitter on my other screen. So if you see me looking, it's because I'm engaged in who they are. So I'm honored to be here today. And I just, I will just say, I love the title, The Happy Show, because we need more happy and more joy in the work that we do. So it's our happiness, it's our joy that will then feed into the beautiful children that we impact every single day. And we've got to let them know that life is so beautiful. They've got to have happies. They've got to laugh. They've got to experience love. And we are the people to model that for them. So a little bit about Dr. Q. I'm going to be honest, like, I did not come into this to be an educator. I went to the University of Houston and I planned on being a pharmacist. I was gonna, push some legal drugs around, make big money. And I completely hated biology for science majors. I don't know if any of you have ever taken a biology for science major course in college, but they're horrible. I was making D's and I was busting my butt to get those D's. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And I ended up changing my major. Now, I come from a single mother. She worked so hard to get me into college with no student loans. And she was kind of banking on me. She was like, all right, I'm going to put this investment into you. And then, you'll take care of me. And I remember the day I called her to say I was going to be changing my major. And I changed it. She was like, why? And I was like, I don't like it. And I'm explaining it to her. And she was like, well, what are you going to change it to? And I was undecided for a while. But then I changed it to Spanish. She was like, what are you going to do with that? And yo no sabía. I had no clue, but I had a horrible Spanish teacher in high school who told me that I could not speak Spanish, that I didn't need to be in Spanish courses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, if I just graduate college to prove this teacher wrong, because we have to remember, teachers' influence is very important. And there are some children that have the fortitude to be able to shift that negativity into something positive, but others may not, and it can destroy children. So we've got to use our powers for good. However, I was like, well, I'll just do Spanish. And she was like, you're going to do charity for the rest of your life. And, she's kind of right, because I've been in this work now 25 years and I've done a lot of charity. And I keep telling my mom still today, Mom, the money will come. And she's like, when is it coming? I said, it's coming. But, and so I became a teacher. I went and I got a Spanish degree from the University of Houston. And I was like, well, I'll just be a teacher until I figure out what I'm really going to do with my life, because clearly teaching wasn't like a real thing to do. And I remember my dad telling me, listen, you're either going to get sucked into this work or you will leave it very, very quickly, as quick as you can. And here I am 25 years later. I don't know what I would be doing. No, I'm lying. If I could, I would sing and I would dance like professionally. But I don't know what I would do if I was not doing this beautiful, amazing, fulfilling, loving work as an educator. And so I went into being a teacher. I was a second grade teacher, and it was Andrew that changed my life. I was a second grade teacher and I was an ESL teacher because, during that time I had to do alternative certification. And those were the courses that I had to be able to teach ESL. And it was Andrew. His name was Andrew. I'll never forget Andrew, because Andrew was the catalyst for sucking me in. I was teaching ESL, but Andrew was a bilingual baby y no hablaba nada de inglés, nada de inglés. And he had to take an English, it was back in the day, it was a text test. Had to take an English test. No hablaba inglés. And I remember telling Andrew, you can do whatever you want to do. I believe in you, Andrew. Andrew, good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is better and your better is the best. Andrew, we got this. And Andrew was like, okay, maestra. I was like, we're doing it. He was like, okay, maestra. Now, maybe I went home and I was like, I don't know how Andrew's going to pass this test, because Andrew don't speak a nada de inglés. Tú entiendes, nada de inglés. Pero yo le dije a Andrew, tú puedes, sí se puede. So long story short, y'all, Andrew passed that doggone text test. And I was like, oh, there's something to this thing that we call teaching and education. And so Andrew, he stole my heart. He stole my heart, and I've never looked back since. So I have taught literally second grade all the way to 12th grade, ESL, bilingüe, clases de bilingüe, as well as a Spanish teacher. Para quien no habla de nada de español, por eso yo sabía todo. So like I've literally gone from second grade all the way to 12th grade, and I cannot tell you how. One of the things that teachers have to understand is that you change lives as a teacher, as a leader. But the truth is, if you do it the right way, they change your lives. If you're doing it the right way, it's a reciprocal thing that they'll never be the same and you will never be the same, because that is the magic of love. And so from that space, I decided that I wanted to go into leadership and became an assistant principal. Now, what that space did for me was understand that it was broader. Yes, it's about children, it's about relationships, but it's more than that. It's also about your staff. It's about the teachers, and the teachers then become your students, like you were when you were in the classroom. And so that was a great learning experience. APs, this is it's the hardest learning curve, but you learn the most that you'll learn in your life. From there, I, had a very non-traditional pathway. From there, I actually went to central office and became a senior manager, where I was able to support new assistant principals, do professional development to build their capacity, because you need it. And a lot of times we don't put the learning that we need to in our leaders when they first get there. And the leadership is critical. So I became a senior manager doing that. And then I had the wonderful opportunity to work with Harvard Ed Labs with this work called Leverage Leadership as a director. And I was able to lead and to coach and to do professional development for over 30 leadership teams here in HISD, teaching them all of the different levers that it takes to be effective leaders in this work. And then, because I'm from Oak Cliff, okay? I don't know if you know about Oak Cliff. That's my hood. It's in Dallas, Texas. And there's this thing called street credit. So I'm like, coaching and leading and telling all these principals and leadership teams what they should be doing, but I had no street credit. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to go sit in the seat, because there's nothing like the seat. There's nothing like the seat. I went back from being a director to a principal. And when I tell you, the minute that I sat in the seat, I emailed and I called all of the principals that I was supporting in central office, and I just apologized. I said, I'm so sorry. Because you don't know all the things that happen in the seat, and you may think you may feel like you have the theory for it. However, you don't. So I became a principal, best and worst job that I've ever had in my life. And that's the truth, because it is a lot of work, but literally that is the space that I was the most fulfilled in my career. And then I decided again to go back into the magic seat, kind of full circle. And now I'm a professor, and I get a chance to grow, develop, and teach aspiring teachers, aspiring leaders, and do this work. I also, though, as a professor, stay very connected to practicing, because it's important not to get away from the work, because our babies are different. Our teachers are different. They have different challenges. So I also am a principal coach, and I'm the principal's person, and help them through as they're growing as leaders. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here. And I am honored. Thank you again.
Go ahead, Ray.
Can I just say all that? I know that there's a lot more that we didn't even share, but Dr. Koo, you have the best title of a book, even though I know we all have books, but your book has the best title. And I would just can you just share the title so that people listening, in case they're like, oh, I should go make dinner. You can't leave yet. You have to go look at the title of the book.
Well, the title of my book, it was going to be called More Than My Content. However, I was like, nah, that ain't it. I need to get people's attention. I need them to pay attention, because children are worth it. So the title of my book is called The Art of Giving a Shh.
So good.
Because at the end of the day, a teacher, a leader, whatever role you play, you got to give us. You've got to care from a very deep space. So if you don't give a, you should probably go work for the post office, or you should do something where you're not dealing with human beings. Because if you don't give a, you got to do something different.
I love it. I know we're doing a book talk later, but we got to do that. That had to come up. Sorry, Josh.
No.
Absolutely.
Hey, great thought process. They went perfect with it right there. A big shout out to the #1 Beatles fan. He has a podcast, The Liner Knows, Sean Gator, for being here, and author of 2 books. I think he's finishing the second one, From Down Under. Oh, I don't know if New Zealand goes down under. I think New Zealand says something else. Dr. Michael Harvey was here in the past, part of our PGP podcast, which is international. So guys, man, woo! Oh my Lord, we're at 30 minutes. All right, let's cut it down a little bit right now, because we got a lot more questions. So Principal L, tell the audience right now, when some of those team members, they're like this at the beach. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I need you to give them a spark, Principal L. Tell them a weird story your first year in the classroom. A weird story the first year. Now, you don't have to take like 7 hours on it, but tell them like, this was my first year and
And Josh, my first year teacher was 1987. You might not even been born then, you know.
Hey, I'm old, brother. 1970. I'm old, all right.
So early in my career, I was teaching math in middle school, you know, as well. And I had a problem with a kid who happened to be my nephew in my classroom. Caused a lot of problems, and his mom came up to the school and just showed off as a parent. And one of the school employees didn't know that the student was a problem with my nephew. And he just said, you know what? If I were you and I had a parent threatening me like that, I would probably call up some female in my family. I said, well, sadly, I have to tell you, that is the female in my family. That's my own sister that's up here acting like that, you know. But it just let me know. Number one, let me know you never want to have your family in your classroom. But number two, it also helped me to understand early on that when we're educating young people who need us the most, that many times we're penalizing the wrong person. Or our children are coming into our schools from home. They can't choose their families. You know, they can't choose their environment. They simply need adults who care enough about them, you know, not to give up. So it probably was a great lesson for me early on as a teacher that, you know, every child needs somebody crazy about them. So that became my mantra, my motto.
All right, thank you, Q. You don't have to go into a lot, but, you know, let's talk a little bit about that first year, young lady. ¿Qué pasó?
My first year, I think what was interesting my first year is I didn't know anything. I was ACP. I literally made everything up as I went. Like I didn't know anything. And so I went very, very heavy on the relationship piece, right? And so that was like the thing. But I didn't know what pedagogy meant. Like I was like, well, how do you even say the word? Like, what is it? Peta what? Like, what is it? And so it was funny. And I think I remember most about my very first year of teaching was Fridays. Okay. So first of all, I was in a district where we got paid once a month. Okay. And this, like, I got like $1,000 a month. Right. And I thought that I was doing something big, but like it didn't go far and it didn't take it long for it to go. But on Fridays, I remember coming home, I would order pizza in, you know, because I had big money, and I would just be asleep at 8:00. And my roommate was like, why do you go to sleep so early on Fridays? Because I was exhausted. I didn't know how, like, I thought that I had worked before, but there is something different about being a teacher, especially a first year teacher. So if you're a first year teacher, please, especially right now, you're summertime, eat your Wheaties, take your vitamins, because it is exhausting first year. Yeah. That's what I
Dr. Q,
remember.
we called those teacher naps. When I was a new teacher, I had a buddy that was a new teacher as well. We took those naps every day. It wasn't just Friday. It was every day you came home tired. You know, we were
tired. Yeah.
All right, Ray, what you got? What you got, Ray?
I cannot even remember my first year teaching because I was either hustling or sleeping, just like we're talking about here. But I will say, if I had to describe a synopsis of my first year, even though there were so many good memories, amazing field trips and fundraisers and students that just like got me into the love that I have now, I would describe it as a huge gallon size of like 1,000 puzzle pieces or 5,000 puzzle pieces. I feel like as educators, we walk into the room, we have this cool certificate that we're allowed to be there as teachers, and they hand us this classroom, which, by the way, no big deal. I was in this nice building in this in this incredible room, and I had no idea what I was doing. And the whole time I was just trying to fit these puzzle pieces together of all the shoulda, coulda, woulda you're supposed to do in teaching. Have students reflect every day, make sure you use personalized learning, mastery learning is an essential component. You want students goal setting. I was like, that all sounds good. I got 32 minutes with sixth graders in a low income community. If you told me how, I would do it, but I didn't know. So every day it was like picking a new piece of the puzzle, trying to fit it in, maybe putting it back or getting it to stay. And I love that now I know that so many of us, whether you're in the comments or on screen, you know how to fit in those puzzle pieces. So we have to share with others how to fit in the puzzle pieces. And it doesn't mean that the way I did it is the same way Dr. Q is going to do it or Principal L. That's okay. Some of them is universal, some of them's not. But the more puzzle pieces you can grab out of that gallon-sized bag and put together, the better educator you are, the healthier you are. You may only need the vitamin every other day. Like, this is how education works. So if you're sitting, whether it be in your classroom, in your dining room, or on vacation at the beach, think about those puzzle pieces and think about which ones you're struggling to fit together. And let's ask some questions.
So, hey, educator, you just finished your first year and you were probably alternative certification like Dr. Q. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. It's okay. You're okay. You touched the kid's life. Sure, you got a couple of punches along the way, but it's okay. We all started somewhere. Don't forget that. Just take all of these events as great learning experiences. So now, like I said, I'm going to ask you guys to share to the audience, because right now, mainly, and other than Principal L, you know, but it's also directed to you. How have you assisted an educator that they have said, Ray, Dr. Q, Principal L, muchas gracias, because of you? And I'll share one. I posted it the other day. This one coach that I hired a couple years ago, 3 schools ago. This is my 13th school, 13th in 32 years. And he texted me, and it was a quick text, and it says, and you know how football coaches in Texas are. If you're not, you know, you move around a lot depending on what the coaching schema and everything is. And he texted me real quick. This is my 10th year, and I've been in different schools, and by far, you're the best principal. That was just the best paycheck spiritually as an educator that I could get from an adult. Does that make sense? And I'm not, and you know what? Some people that sit in my chair, yeah, you know, like Jerry Brooks says, don't hate, no peanut butter and jelly. We should put that out there, because this chair, as all of you have said, it's a hard chair. The principal chair is a hard, superintendent is a hard, we all have hard chairs, and we should be building each other up, especially with this exodus. So please, Dr. Q, you know, you don't have to give names. If you want to, it's up to you, but just give a quick, brief story of how you touched an educator and they said, Dr. Q, because of you, this.
That one's a hard one, because I think that you, like, just like with teachers don't always know the impact they make on students. Leaders sometimes very more rare, less likely to know the impact that they make on adults, right? Because adults are, baby, they're a lot different than kids. But I just actually posted the other day. I got a text message from one of my old teachers, and she was like, hey, I just saw a post that I put on Facebook in 2020 or something, what year, talking about how grateful that I was to have such an amazing admin team. And she was like, I didn't know how lucky I was to have such an incredible person to lead me. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, you're making me cry. So this is like via text message, because I hadn't seen her name in years. And she said, yeah, I reread my post, you know, and I've been better. Like, things are not good with my admin, like, things are not great. But even in that space, you know, I was able to say, but what are you learning, right? What are you learning? And like, you know, there's something that you're going to be okay. But like just getting random messages from adults, especially like my students right now. Like it touches my heart, and I'm so appreciative. I have one from a student that if we have time I would love to share, because while teachers don't get it, principals rarely get it from students. And I had a student that actually emailed me about leadership, right? And so yeah,
Slip it
it's
in.
just it's
Go,
amazing.
go.
You
Drop,
want me to
drop it
slip
real
it?
quick. Drop
Okay,
it in
well,
real
let me
quick.
drop it. I'm going to drop it real quick. So her name was actually Quinice. And so my name is Quinice. And I'm like, there's nobody else in the world named Quinice, right? And so I meet this beautiful, beautiful African-American girl, and she's shy and she's not saying anything. And her name is Quinice. And she's like in a thing. And I'm like, oh, your name is Quinice. Oh my God, you're wonderful. You're amazing. And she's like, looking at me like I'm crazy. But she sent an email to me, and I can't read all of it, but she says, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for the leadership and care you showed me during my time at Marshall Middle School. Looking back, I realized how much of an influence a school environment has on a young person's development. And under your guidance and your leadership, our school felt like a safe, structured, and inspiring place to grow. I just was like, I'm done. I'm done. I need nothing else, because she never said much to me, and I was always over the top with her. But to receive that email, and she goes on with other things, but I'm like, I may even cry right now because you don't know that students are looking at your leadership. So you're always leading in the classroom, out of the classroom. So lead with love, because it makes a difference. I'm so sorry. Estoy llorar, llorar.
Quiere llorar. Quiere llorar.
Quiere
Quiere llorar.
llorar, quiere llorar.
Wow. I feel kind of awkward passing it to one of you guys.
I'm so sorry.
Ray. And you know what? Because you know what, Ray? If you all don't know, you might know not. I'm a podcast junkie. I try to listen to 3 every morning. And so I go like on cycles. And when I hear that lady talk in the morning, you hear the love and like, come, I got your back. That whenever she talks to her audience on her podcast, you hear the tone. It's okay. I got you. It doesn't matter where you're in Alaska, you're Hawaii, you're in Maine and Florida. I got you. Just reach out. You hear that caring educator voice. You know, it's a beautiful thing. Ray, what about you?
This is getting too emotional. I got to bow out. I'm sorry, guys. I so appreciate you saying that. And Dr. Q, I could listen to you talk forever. So anytime you have another story, just drop it in. I love all of this, because you're right. We never hear the student accolades, the leadership accolades, even as a podcaster, right? So many of us have podcasts. I see even in the comments, Joshua Stamper jumped in. There's so many people that have amazing resources they're putting out there, but you don't always hear it. So Josh, just know, I always love when you tag me saying you've listened, anyone on social. It's so sweet just to know that we're doing the right stuff. And my team with Teachers Deserve It is so committed. We will only put out content that people ask for. That is a core value. So if you need something, please ask, because that's the only way we operate, which works perfectly with this question you had as far as tips and tricks. I love that my role now, and I'd love anyone listening, we're going to give you a freebie code to get in, but we're committed to putting every itty bitty tip and trick we can possibly find into our learning hub and give it to as many people as possible. I'm the worst, like, thank God I'm not the CFO, because I give it away codes and frees and all this stuff. I'm like, don't pay for it, just go steal it, right? That's the goal of education. Spread it and then share it with every neighboring teacher you have in your school. But one of my favorites and the things I hear the most about is about our stupid inboxes. I don't know about you guys, your inbox is full, it's stressful. And especially when you're teaching, or if you're a principal, you're not in your office all the time, hopefully. And they just stack up. And I had this group of educators reach out to me in a DM, and they were like, hey, Ray, we want to take a course, but we don't have a lot of time. So like, can you figure out which one we should take? And I'm like, girl, I got you. Our courses are always under an hour, usually like 27 minutes to go grab it. And they come with like a boatload of downloads. And as we were talking, they're doing a little cohort. they decide to do the like helping your inbox one that we have. All of them have super clear objectives. And they used 2 major tips and tricks in that one really quick 20-ish minute course. And they saved, listen to this, it like gives me chills. They saved 5 hours a week. 5 hours. Do you know what we could do with 5 hours as an educator? First of all, we could all go to bed at 7:30. Thank goodness. We could make it home for bedtime. Those of you with beautiful children at home. We could binge watch our favorite TV show because you know there's some great ones out there. Or I don't know, go on a walk, go have a glass of wine, make a happy hour. I mean, there's a lot to do in 5 hours. So for me, I know that there's so many different things that fill us up. Right now, I'm addicted to hearing about teachers saving 30 minutes here, 5 minutes here. 5 hours a week would be the dream. So I am getting all mushy gushy about the clock, but that is what's building me up right now. And that's what really makes me like Dr. Q's getting emotional about a real reason. I'm getting emotional about people saving like an hour in their life. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my purpose.
About giving teachers time. That is something to get very emotional about because they need it and they deserve it. You go, girl.
Of course.
They deserve it. I love it.
And I know for a fact que mi hermano, Principal L, when I heard him speak the first time at NASSP, you had all those principals looking at him like, bro, the love was there. I saw leaders looking at you. So talk to us, Principal L. Tell us a story.
Yeah, I'm just here just soaking up and and learning so much and everything. And you know, we're preaching to the choir, but the choir needs to be inspired too. And I think we have a large number of educators who are tired, but many of them are often uninspired. So if you don't need any other reason to come to this podcast today, then you need to be here just to be inspired by our guests, our hosts, you know, and the audience out there. And Josh, I'll tell you, you know, in 38 years, I've received hundreds and hundreds of notes and messages from former students, former teachers, you know, former principals, you know, and I'm just so proud. Probably the proudest moment for me is that I have students who were students in my school as a principal who are now teaching in my school. Every year when my students graduate, I say, one of you must come back to become a teacher in our school, in our community. And I have students, you know, who are teaching. But I'll share with you real quick, you know, as you know, I speak all around the country. I'm a full-time principal, won't leave my job. So as much as I can get away, I go out and try to inspire other teachers, leaders. And I was in Kentucky or Tennessee a few years ago. And in my sessions, you know, when they're interactive, I asked the audience to kind of shout out other people. Talk about why you chose to stay. Who inspired you to make that choice? And someone stood up and said, there was someone there who won a teacher award. You had to be nominated by someone else. And when the teacher was announced as a winner, nobody knew who nominated her. And they read the letter of nomination. And there was a kid who said, I came to school one day and I was falling asleep in your classroom. And everybody was saying, send me to the office so they can send me home. Send me to the office so they can send me home. You told me, no, you weren't sending me to the office. You made me wait after class and then lunch. You sat with me, you talked to me. You wanted to know why I was falling asleep. And he said to the committee, I actually wanted the teacher to send me home because I wanted to go home and commit suicide. And I needed to be home when nobody else was home. But this teacher would not send me home. And because of that teacher, I'm alive today and I'm graduating from high school. And, you know, I was floored at this meeting. I wasn't expecting that. Can you imagine hearing that as a teacher? Because that teacher never knew that. She simply was doing her job. She understood, and these messages you hear today is all about children need to be heard, seen, celebrated, valued, respected. And that's what this work is all about. And I saw my good friend Andre posting it earlier, one of my quotes, you know, don't pray for a lighter load, pray for a stronger back. And you know this work is not going to get any easier. And as a Dr. Q talked about, you know, there are folks who, you know, they can't do the work. And if you can't do the work, go out there. And I tell people, if you can't hack it, get your jacket, right? Because you have to be called to do this work. And these children will let you know. But that was a moment for me when I heard that message from that child, that really defined for me the struggles we go through to get this work done, the charity we do, the money we spend, all of the infighting and everything. It's really about saving lives of our young people, saving Private Ryan every day. And that's what this teacher did. And that'll be a moment I'll never forget.
That is so awesome. All of us can really feel that feeling, that love, because it's love.
Yes,
Love
sir.
towards your fellow man, and there's something beautiful. That's that unwritten paycheck that we get to cash in, and so that leads us to my next question. Oh, Da Costa Ahiro, future guest from Africa, will be here talking about education in his country. Thank you for being here. I don't know what time it is in Africa right now, but thank you for being part of it. I know it happens to all of us. Tell me, do you have a story where you were looking your rattiest, your worst, or maybe your best, and you got blindsided by our former student? And that kid said, Teacher X, is that you? And then they dropped that love bomb. You know what I'm talking about. Especially when you're wearing those torn sweats and you have those dark shades on. They find you. I don't know how they find you, because they develop, they mutate when they get bigger, right? You don't even recognize them anymore. And then the worst line for me, especially now with finishing year 32, do you remember me? Oh, I wish I could say yes 100% of the time, but I can't. So Principal L, have you been, boom, broadsided by a kid that said, because of you, my man, por tu amor, por tu inspiración, for your inspiration, you did this?
I have, and often I'll be in the drive-through, I'll be in the line at Target or somewhere. Just everywhere I go, I'm running the former students, and I learned that early on, Josh. So I make sure when I come out of the house, I'm looking good, because if not, they will come back to school and they will let everybody know that I was looking bad. So I learned early on to make sure that I'm halfway decent when I come out. But I'm gonna just pass that time on to the ladies, but just to say that there is no greater feeling. And I said this at my students, my 8th grade students graduated on Friday. My younger students are still in school next week. But I said to them and their parents that there's no greater feeling, that everybody in this world, our purpose should be for someone to say, because of you, I made it. Because of you, I'm successful. Your influence is powerful. And I think that that's really the goal. It's been my goal. And I think all of us as educators, it makes us feel good especially when it's that student who gave an aspirin a headache. That student right there is the one, when they come back and say, like Dr. Q said, that young lady who you didn't really say anything to you, they're always watching. And that when that student says, you know what, it's because of you, I am who I am because of you, I think that's really what keeps me going.
Amen. Amen. Dr. Q, where did they capture you, ma'am?
Oh my God. So I'm not gonna tell this story, but I remember one time with my girlfriends, we were celebrating a bachelorette party. And so I want you to think about bacheloretteness, right? And where we may have been for the bachelorette party. And baby, one of my students was like, Miss Miller. I was like, you have got to be joking me. I got my heel. I mean, I'm just saying, we were bacheloretting it, okay? And she's like, oh my God, I love you so much. I miss you so much and all the things. And I'm like, girl, if you don't stop talking to me in my bacheloretteness, my energy that I got over here, but I just loved on her. But you know what's the one that actually sticks with me the most? And I'm going to say sticks with me because this student sticks with me. I was teaching high school, and I actually talk about it a little bit in this book, teaching Spanish, and I made her take Spanish 1, 2, and 3 eventually, okay? However, when I first met this student, her name is Brandy. She won't mind because I talk about her all the time, because I was sure that I wasn't going to have a job after Brandy came into my classroom, because she thought it was her classroom. She was taller than me. She was bigger than me, and she thought that she was the queen of the classroom. And she used to call me some of the names you wouldn't even imagine. And I thought I was going to catch a case and lose my job, lose my religion, lose all the things that I had been given to be able to do this work. And I remember that day, I was like, I'm not going to make it. Like, I'm not going to make it. And I come to find out, I was like, listen, first of all, teachers, you're going to always have that student. And one of the things you got to be real careful for is understanding that you are not the issue, that there's things that happen and you can't hold contentment or anything negative for children because it becomes toxic and it spreads in the classroom and it spreads into you. And just like cancer, it will destroy things. So you have to keep loving children, right? Love children, the rest will take care of itself. But so anyways, this particular student, I said, you know what? I'm the professional. And if I say I love children, then I need to, talk about it. Don't be about it. Don't just talk about it. And got a chance to listen to her. And she had been experiencing some very, very hard things. Her mother had been dealing with a drug addiction. She was a baby of 7 children and going from house to house to house. It was a lot. And so I wasn't the issue, but she was able to put those emotions onto me in a safe space, if that makes sense. Long story short, I still to this day, she is still on my phone. Still, she now has her own children and they give her HE double hockey sticks. And I just laugh. It's like a grandparent. I get to just laugh and I get to just think it's the best thing because she's like, I can't believe him. I can't believe him. And I'm thinking to myself, girl, do you know who you were? And so it's really beautiful to see that come full circle. But now, she supports me and she's actually a mentor with my daughter. And it's just so interesting because it just takes one teacher. And she continues, she'll post me, she'll take pictures. And I'm like, please don't put that on Facebook. Y'all remember Miss Miller? She was the best teacher. And I'm like, girl, you are almost 40 years old. Now, that doesn't mean you need to know what my age is because I'm like, girl, I still got it. But she's almost 40 years old, 30 something, 35. I don't even know. But so yeah, that's probably my favorite one. And she's probably going to see this podcast and say, will you please stop talking about me? And I was like, I'm never going to talk about you. Stop talking about you. Because neither one of us almost made it. We were both almost out of there. But yeah, it's Brandy.
Beautiful.
It's Brandy Braden. Mm-hmm.
Saludos, Brandy. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, Brandy, ¿qué tal?
Saludos, Brandy. Ray, where did they get you?
Okay, I can tell you that I am not good with needles. I'm not good giving blood, getting shots, and I got hired my first year teaching, and I was so excited, got that nice classroom. I moved to some random town I had literally never heard of until I did the interview. Okay, I'm moving. So they tell me, like 3 days before school starts, hey, you got to get some shot, blood test, something. So I was like, okay, fine. Go to some random hospital. Again, I was a newbie in town. I had just signed a lease in an apartment with me and my cat. I was ready to go. So I go in and my mom is on the phone with me and she goes, I can't believe you're going to go get a shot on your own. I'm so proud. And I was like, Mom, I got this. I am 22 years old. I can go do this. I walk in and I'm like, but if I cry, no one's going to know because I'm an adult and I'm new here. No one knows me. I sit down in the waiting room. They do all the things. They bring me back to give me the shot. Woman comes in and I get nervous. I'm a talker. So I was like, hi, how are you? Tell me about yourself. I'm trying to distract myself from that she's going to give me, I don't know, some shot or, draw my blood or whatever she was doing. And she goes, oh, you're a new teacher? My son is a new 6th grade student at that same school, and says his name. And I'm like, yeah, he's on my roster. And she goes, oh, that's so great. And 2 seconds later, she goes, how are you with needles? You going to cry? And I was like, not today, not in front of you. My first parent I had ever met in my career. And she gives me the shot. I tear up a bit and she goes, we just won't tell anyone about that. Okay, so be it. So be it. So that's my not nice story of my first parent interaction. But I will say, I do want to give a shout out since there's so many good stories to share to DeAntonis. DeAntonis was an amazing student. I talk about him all the time, my first year teaching. I never thought I made an impact. He actually was in and out of juvie the whole year that I had him. And I had him as his PBIS teacher when he was there once every 3 months that he could check in with me. He was a good kid, but had a ton going on with him. And something I was doing in my classroom, which we still can do some instruction on now to help teachers bring more support into their classroom, is we do themed internships that are all sponsored by local businesses. And it just helps like build more of a community. If you're an educator who feels like you need more hands in your classroom, this might be a solution for you. And my first partner was Pizza Hut. And I guess, I don't even remember D'Antonis being there that unit, but I guess he may have made it like the last few days, because the only thing he told me later was that he definitely got a business card, which was a part of the process. Like you went through this learning experience, and at the end, you got a business card from the internship that you participated in with Pizza Hut. He emailed me 3 to 5 years later, different town, different name, don't know how he tracked me down, and said, just want you to know, I dropped out of high school. I'm living on my own, but I got a job because I had my business card from 6th grade math at Pizza Hut. And I was so proud of him. He was like, I knew how to do the handshake. I knew how to walk up. And I knew, he's like, I walked in with the card and said, I got this in 6th grade math. I need a job. And I was like, so proud. So I will say 2025 now, he still works there. And if that's his dream and he's happy living a life on his own, I'm thrilled. So I know so many teachers have those stories but may not hear them. I promise you guys, if you're listening, there are so many students that owe you a thank you. And I know that because I myself had to write apology and thank you cards to all my teachers when I graduated college, because I was the worst kid ever. So huge shout out to the students out there that you may not have heard from.
Love it. I don't know. My brain is just releasing all these hormones in there. It's just like totally happy. I feel like I'm listening to Lainey Ralph's podcast right now. Just a bunch of gratitude and stuff going on. Hey, I'm going to start it off. So team members out there in the panel, take out those books I asked you. I asked them. All right. So people are kind of weird out there. So you know that if you're part of the PGP podcast, I always promote books. Not because I get a kickback. No, I don't. I just believe that iron sharpens iron, and you got to help each other out in this field. So remember, if you're having some obstacles with classroom management, either you as a campus leader, district, or in the classroom, Kevin Curtis was on our show. Great job. He shows you how to do it. 1, 2, 3 ABCs, how to do it in the classroom for your campus. It's a great thing out there. Superintendent Glenn Robbins from New Jersey just came out his brand new book. And it's a very dark field that we can be in education, because people put barriers for us. Politics gets in the way. We aspire to certain positions and politics get in the way. And so that's we don't talk about that often. It's those things that are taboos, but it's a fact. Some people get in your way of moving ahead. So sometimes you got to leave, and that's fine. You find your place because God will place you there. And right here, what he does is that he ties it in with musicians that were told they stink. So he ties in education with that. Oh, I don't know what just did. Chaos. Superintendent Glenn Robbins, The Stoics and Leadership, great book. And for us educators, hey, people out there, we love these books. Jimmy Casas was just on the show, I think 3 weeks ago. His brand new book, great man, culturizing everything. And if you want to learn about Memorial Pathway Academy and Socorro High School, where yours truly wrote chapter 23 with Barbara Bray, Grow Your Why. It's also an audio book, so you could hear it. All the authors write their own. So check it out. Remember that this is a time when you're poolside with your margarita. You got 23 stories and all these other authors. So, Dr. Q, you got any books out there?
Take your mute off.
Can't hear you.
Sorry about that. You definitely want to grab The Art of Giving a Shit. And it's for not just new teachers, but for veteran teachers, for all teachers, for leaders, for parents. It's just about really honing into those relationships. And it's based from the research of Nell Noddings and Geneva Gay around this concept called culturally responsive caring, which basically says, listen, let's not even talking about the teaching where you're meeting the needs of all diverse learners and learners in general. Let's talk about the foundation of just caring about who they are as human beings. And that is the premise of this book. In addition to this book, I am working on my new book called Lead with Love. And so I'll definitely be I'm doing a questionnaire to kind of get the voices of those that have experienced leaders that have led with love, haven't led with love. Leadership is super critical. It's super important because it makes the difference. It really does make the difference. And one of the things, Ray, I just want to say real quick about you that I love is this notion of loving teachers. We've gotten away from that, specifically at the leadership level and the administrative level, because they come in doing such magical, important work, is that we've got to fill their cups in a very intentional way. So I really appreciate that. So be on the lookout of the book Lead with Love, and I hope to be able to hear your voices. And thank you again, El Jefe Tovar,
All right,
for the
all
opportunity.
right. Thank you, Ray.
Oh, also, wait, it's on Audible as well. I'm
Audible.
reading it on Audible. So
Do
if you have any platform. Mhm.
Do you swear in it?
Yeah, a little
Okay,
bit.
good. I am
I mean,
so
I
ordering
say
it
like-
right now.
I say like, one word, one or two. Yeah, but it's definitely, you want to, the audio, I actually love it more. I love reading because I like to like highlight and things like that. But if you are an Audible person, go grab it.
I will be grabbing it right now. For everyone else, if you want to do a book
You got
study
credits.
with me, do a book study with
Absolutely.
me on her book. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Boom, boom, boom,
Just so
boom.
y'all
I'm
know,
sorry.
Ray has a lot of stuff out there. I have used it. I use some of her articles because I tutor our brand new teachers all year long on Wednesday for 25 minutes. If we have a long-term sub, I tutor them. If we have teachers in need of support, they're part of that group. We had 14 this year, and towards the end, we left off with certain aspects that she brought to the table. I told her, I took a picture of our lesson frame. We covered it for 3 sessions because it's crucial that she brought the receipts and things that we could better enhance our craft. Ray, what do you got out there?
I love it. And friends, please know that everything I've worked on is not just my own. Everything is from other educators and collaborators. And I love that about education. But if you're looking for a book, my second book is called Teachers Deserve It. I wrote it with the amazing Adam Welcome, who I am such a fan of edu celebrity Adam Welcome, although he would roll his eyes of even being referred to that way. But it was such an honor to write that book. And I had no idea that it would turn into now the work that I get to do. And it's amazing. So go check that out. Very much focused on empowering educators to take control of their life and their field in a very positive way. So if you're looking for a staff book study that seems to be what it's being used for, it's called Teachers Deserve It. And we know that they do. But the biggest thing that I want to celebrate here for all of you is that we have a code called, if you just use Happy Show as the code, head over to Teachers Deserve It Learning Hub. It has, if you do the all access membership, it'll give you half off for 6 months. Or what I say is it has a free trial. So go in, do the free trial, download everything you can, and then just cancel it if it's too much money. I get it. Or direct message me. I'll give you a code that gives you everything off. We'll just figure out a way so you can get resources. But we publish a bundle of courses every single month. It's somewhere between 3 to 6 courses every month for you. We support educators, and we've also, because of all of you and your requests, now have a bundle for paraprofessionals. We'll have 2 more paraprofessional bundles coming soon because they've been so popular, but it's all focused on different themes. Teachers deserve their time back. Teachers deserve more creativity. Teachers deserve strong leadership, whatever it is. So if you're looking for easy resources, again, really short courses, no one wants to go through a 30-hour course. Okay. These are teeny tiny. And the downloads are so robust. I think the templates and checklists are what I love and what we've gotten good feedback on. And again, we only create content that you ask for. So please feel free to DM us if you're not finding a tool or resource. We're in the period right now of collecting ideas. We bring educators and experts together to put it all together in a pretty bow and then deliver it to you, hopefully, so you can save a little bit of time and enjoy life a little bit more. So again, that's teachersdeserveit.com. It's in our learning hub, which is where everything's stored, our free resource and everything else. And code Happy Show will get you 50% off. And if you need more than that, just direct message me. But obviously we have the podcast and the blog and Substack and blah, blah, blah. But that's where I would go as my recommendation.
Beautiful. Principal L.
And Josh, I as you know, I've written 5 books. One, of course, about my life story and my chess program, and then the Immortality of Influence. Will Smith wrote the foreword in that, and that was the follow-up to my first book and those students going on to grad school and law school. And then I wrote, I co-authored with 2 other leaders in the state of Delaware, where I'm principal, Passionate Leadership with Corwin, and then Building a Winning Team, and the book on teacher retention as well. So, so my newest book, Meet Their Needs and They'll Succeed, my first book with ASCD, which I'm very excited about, was released in April. And this book is really about transforming the lives of students through powerful relationships. You know, as you know, all of our panelists know, you know, relationships are really the foundation of any positive school culture. And they're really, it's all about trust. And trust is the engine that drives relationships. And this book is grounded in my 4 C's of school success, which are weaved throughout the book. It's what many of my talks around the country, and even in Africa, where I've spoken in Nigeria, those 4 C's: crazy about kids, consistent adults in their lives, you know, a culture, you know, of love, and support, you know, for those young people, and also caring, consistent. There's so many things that our students need, but they're all grounded in making sure that we have strong, positive relationships. And the most powerful for me is being curious about their lives outside of school.
Right.
When we really want to know about students, we want to know about their academics, of course, and their social emotional, but we also want to know about their culture. We want to know about their family. We want to know about their community. You know, what are you doing when you're not here at school, so I can focus some of my lessons on tapping into some of your interests, which I know this is what Ray teaches a lot in terms of, you know, cultural responsiveness and teachers being aware of their students, and that emotional intelligence for principals and leaders out there. We have to know and support those teachers, because they are supporting those young people, you know, on a daily basis. But the book really centers on critical thinking, creative problem solving, trauma-informed leaders and teachers, the importance of rigorous, challenging, and joyful classrooms, community engagement, the power of after-school programs, and most importantly, why it means so much for teachers and leaders to choose to stay and lead from right within their own buildings and classrooms. We have to build schools where teachers, students, and families are knocking the door down to get in instead of knocking the door down to get out. And with people like you, leaders like you, Josh, is how it happens. You've been to many schools, but each one, you know, each person you've touched, you wanted them to go out and go on and lead and teach the way you touch them. And I think that's what's so important is we want to make an impact. We want followers, but we also want to build other leaders. That's what a good leader does. And an excellent leader is a good follower. So you want to follow good leaders. That's why I follow this good brother here, because I know he's going to lead me to the promised land. And he's so amazing at celebrating other people. So let's give Josh a big round of applause, because it takes a special person to be comfortable celebrating the success of other people. And many people struggle with that, sir, but you do not. Since the day I have met you, you know, one day we were somewhere and we needed some water or something, and Kafeli and I were trying, and Josh said, no, I'll get it. And I said, Kafeli, that man can't go. And Josh said, no, you let me do it. You stay right here. And I had so much respect for you, sir. And it taught me to be humble enough to do the same thing for my teachers. So I take them tea when they're not feeling well. I tell them I don't need them to miss school because I don't have any substitutes. So I'm making but I also know we need to care for them because they're caring for our children. So we love you. We are happy for you because you love us and you're happy for us, sir.
Oh, well, God bless you. Okay. God bless. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I gotta accept gratitude. Thank you very much. Kind words. I love it.
Yes,
One
sir.
more quick question, and then we're gonna go to the lightning round. We're at the end. It's a quick fill in the blank. Fill in the Principal L. I want you to tell the audience out there. Finish this line. Hey, educator. Next year, I want you to.
I want you to make decisions that are best for children. With all of these programs being wiped away and all this other stuff going on, we have to make sure, and that's what my book really is, has proven strategies to help students, and they won't cost you a dime. They're things we already, all that time that Ray gave you back, because see, you can get more money, you can get clothes, cars, everything. You cannot get time back. So when you get that time, you want to use it for yourself. So use that time and make sure that we focus on children. And here's what's more important, Josh. Give yourself some grace, some forgiveness, and some mercy. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're human. You make mistakes. You are going to struggle. But trust me, the fact that you are there is making a difference. You are a blesser and not a stressor. Amen, sir.
Woo! Ray, I want you to finish it. Hey, educator, next year I want you to
Accept help, because there are so many templates and checklists, and there's so many things out there to help you. And it kills me when educators are struggling and they're stressed, because if you're using every resource in the book and that still exists, then okay, we'll just be here to support you. But if there is a way that any one of us on this screen can save you a second of time or a moment of stress, please accept help. You should surround yourself with educators that inspire you and help you. There's help out there.
love it. Dr. Q, hey, educator, next year I want you to
Love yourself, love children, and the rest will take care of itself. Education is a lot, whether you're a teacher or a leader. And if you do not intentionally love you, take care of your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional health, take the time, just like Ray said, and like get help from a mentor, from someone. You don't have to, don't push yourself to the limits where you don't have to. And what I love what Principal L said is giving yourself grace. You've got to love you as an educator before you can actually then do the second part, love children. And when you do those two things, am I saying it's going to be easier? No. But what I'm saying is the core and the root of this work, it all stems in loving you and loving children.
Amen.
Amen.
On his
Amen.
day.
Amen.
Amen.
Pass the collection plate.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Lock the doors.
So here we go. It's a lightning round. This is why it's called the PG. PG is ganas. I don't know, Ray. I don't know if you ganas. It's a spiritual word for all Hispanics. It doesn't matter if it's Costa Rica, Honduras, El Salvador, Cuba, Bolivia, Argentina, Mexico. It doesn't matter. We all use the same word, but there is no equate. There is no equate to that word because it's a generational, spiritual, motivational word. People try to say this. No, grit does not equal it because a grandma, great-grandmother will look at her great-grandchild and say, échale ganas, mija.
Échale ganas.
It's a word. It's a strong word in Hispanic culture. And so this is how we're going to finish the lightning round. Yo quiero que le eches ganas, Ray. And remember, hey, it's a lightning round, all right? The only one you get to take a while is number 2, all right?
Nope, I'm going to go quick. We got it.
If you take too long, you're going to hear Pac-Man. All right? It's a lightning round. It's not that quick. And after the call, Don't hang up, guys. Don't hang up, panel, after the call. We're going to close out after our very last one. Ray, here we go. Lightning round. Give advice to a new teacher.
Get help from any resource. I can give you a million.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
I'm just going to say the invitation to join this conversation. I was so honored that you reached out. I love doing this stuff. I love helping, and it's an honor to connect with the both of you for the first time or multiple times.
Thank you. Send some flowers to a current educator who inspires you.
I always love shouting out Jill Burrows. She was one of my first mentors when I became a teacher, and she told me that every day can be a I'll fix it day.
Name one person people should follow on social media.
Ooh. I am going to go with any comedian that you enjoy, because while educators are amazing to follow, you also need a good giggle. So if you're a woman, especially, like 50s or younger, go follow the Giggly Squad. They're hysterical.
Name one song that embodies your spirit as a person.
As a person, I should have prepared this one. This was going to be good. I'm going to go, I'm blanking. I'm so blanking on I'm going to go anything Motown.
It's on fire. You're on fire, Ray.
Oh, I'm on fire. There we go. That's what I need.
Fire.
Done. So sorry. I'm choking right now. This is
Right. What's your favorite quote?
Favorite quote is anything by Principal L, ever. Anything.
I love it. I love it. I
It's
love
so true.
What's your favorite cheap food or sweet?
Oh, anything like Lay's chips and onion dip, delicious.
What's your favorite TV show or book?
Right now it's Paradise on Hulu. Guys, season 1's really good. Season 2's coming out.
Okay. And how can people get a hold of you, young lady?
Friends, I would love for you to follow me on social media, just using my name at Ray Hewart, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere in between. But most importantly, go follow the Teachers Deserve It movement. That's where real people are. There's a Facebook group that's growing every day. We actually just yesterday opened it up to all educators and not just members in our community. And we need people there to be able to share tips and tricks that we don't have access to yet because we haven't heard from you. So go follow Teachers Deserve It at teachersdeserveit.com or on Facebook. There's a cool group over there.
All right. Love it. Principal L, give advice to a new teacher.
Find a mentor, somebody you can trust who won't judge you, who will be there for you on the sunny days, but the rainy days. You're going to need somebody, a thought partner you can count on. Find that person and make them your friend forever.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher student that inspired you.
When my new book came out, my former teacher and principal, when I received Teacher of the Year, Principal of the Year in Philadelphia, she was a superintendent and presented my award to me. She was my former English teacher in high school and my former principal when I was a new teacher. She said, "And meet their needs, Dr. Thomasell demonstrates the power of nurturing relationships, high expectations, and exposure to all the world to offer. As one of his former teachers, I now consider myself his student, eager to learn the many lessons that Dr. L shares so brilliantly and so passionately." That was Dr. Deidre Farnbury, who is retired, but she's a retired superintendent, amazing Delta sister, who was a leader for me and a teacher, and honored to have her in my camp.
Love it. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
I'd like to send some flowers to Lauren Kaufman, who's an instructional leader in New York. She's amazing. She's the author of the book, The Leader Inside, big on mentoring. So I'm a big fan of her work.
What name one person people should follow on social media?
People should follow the Creekmore family. They are husband and wife, Nita and Mike Creekmore, author of a book on relationships. He's the bearded counselor. She's Love, Teach, Bless. They are amazing, amazing couple, but doing great things out there. Big ASCD authors.
Love it. What is one song that embodies your spirit as a person, sir?
Listen, I'm from Philly. Fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly. That's my song, brother.
What's your favorite quote?
Favorite quotes, my girl Brene Brown. If you aren't in the arena, also getting your ass kicked, I'm not interested in your feedback. You know what I mean? It's the art of giving us.
Exactly. What's your favorite cheat food or sweet?
I'm a big fan of M&M peanuts. I stay in the gym. I'm trying to eat better, but every now and then I gotta have me an M&M when I'm not in the gym. I like to rhyme too, brother.
What's your favorite TV show or book?
I typically watch sports or news on TV. So my favorite books are I'm about authors. So anything Cafelli writes, he's big on leadership and structural leadership, assistant principal. Jimmy Costa, of course, I wrote the forward and culture rise. I don't know if you realize that, Josh. And also Dr. Robin Jackson writes some amazing books for principals and leaders. And now I'm a big fan of the books of these authors here with us today.
How can people reach out and get that knowledge, senor? How can people
They-
get hold of you?
They can go right to principal.l.com, principalel.com. Principal L, walked on ice, never fell, spend my time in plush hotels. Reach out to me and I will be glad to hear from you. I'm on all social media, as well, at Principal L.
All right, love it. Dr. Q, bring it home. Lightning round. Take us home. Give advice to a new teacher.
Follow your passion, for in it lies your purpose. If you don't love what you do, don't do it, because God gives you this passion for a reason, because that is what your purpose to do. So always think about, do I love this? And whatever I love, that's what I'm going to do, and bring that passion into the classroom, because it gives children the freedom to do that as well.
Read a note, an email, or text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
So I had my email, but I'm actually going to read one of the quotes at the back of the book from one of my old students that says, her job title may be teacher, but her actions show the heart and the soul of a dedicated and caring educator. She understands what many teachers in this day and age sometimes do not. Teaching isn't just classroom curriculum and standardized testing. Teaching is loving. Teaching is caring. From one of my former students, who I'm so proud of all of them, Brandy, Vera, Raquel, Minnie, all of them, and so many more. But
beautiful. Send some flowers to a current educator who inspires you.
So as far as a leader, her name is Dr. Angie Mylan. She's an assistant superintendent, and she also works with another leader, Dr. Onika Mayers, and they are just authentic leaders who advocate for teachers, advocate for principals, and advocate for what's right. And for a teacher, her name is Miss Cantrell, and she's a teacher at Youngblood Intermediate in Alief ISD. And I was able to step in for her and like proctor she was sick or something, proctor her exam, the STAR test. And she was such a good teacher that I knew before, and I didn't even meet her, but she left a page of all her kids, what I needed to look for. This one's going to want to go to sleep. This one really is like some water. Can you go touch this one and tell them good job? This one's going to want to talk about her boyfriend, but just let her know you'll talk about it after the test. I mean, it was so beautiful. And I thought, oh my God, this is what building relationships with children looks like, sounds like, and feels like, because she was able to make sure that her kids' needs were taken care of, and not their academic needs necessarily, their human needs, right? And it was just beautiful. So shout out to Miss Cantrell. And she's a brand new teacher. She's like a new school teacher. And I was like, girl, you got it going on.
Name one person people should follow on social media.
Brad Johnson. Right. I think that Brad just understands the heart of this work, and he is always like just putting nuggets in there that every educator, every teacher needs to internalize.
What's one song that embodies your spirit as a person?
Okay, listen, no one's going to know this song. It's by this woman named Karen Drucker. And the song goes, my religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling deep down inside, my job is to be conscious, and my path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. It is the most random song that you will ever hear, but that embodies exactly who I am.
What's your favorite quote?
Teacher, a teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. Henry B. Adams. But for leaders, Simon Sinek, leaders eat last. Leadership is not a license to do less. It is a responsibility to do more. And that's the problem. That's the trouble. Leadership takes work. It takes time and energy. The effects are not always easily measured, and they are not always immediate. Leadership is always a commitment to human beings.
So you make it so hard for me to insert Pac-Man. Stop it. Stop it.
She knows
Stop it.
everything word for word.
Right?
She knows it all.
I was
Right, I
ready.
know.
I'm ready.
What's your favorite cheat food?
Wine, but apple pie and ice cream.
Why not? What's your favorite TV show?
Black Mirror, favorite book, A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure.
And who or how can people get into this nuclear power energy? Wow.
Please, you can go to my website, quinice.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube at Quinice. It's my name, but it's also my brand. And and also, please, if you don't mind going and looking at the TED Talk that I was able to do called Choosing to Lead, Choosing to Care, around leadership, leading with love. And that's where my book is going to be stemming from. So super excited. Thank you again, Tovar, and these amazing. Listen, I got so many notes from Principal Ellen Ray, and I am just like in stardom over here, and I just appreciate it, and I'm humbled to be here with them.
Thank you,
And with
everybody.
you.
Thank you, panel. Thank you for giving your time. It's Sunday, and that's what makes our beautiful profession so great, that we're willing to lend that hand and support each other. Doesn't matter. And you've heard that. You've heard not only beautiful stories about students and team members, but reach out, helping each other out, because we're not alone. You choose to be alone. In this world with this nonsense right here, you don't have to be alone. There's always somebody out there. There is no way I could connect in a little city, in a little campus in northern Texas with these high-powered individuals in different parts of the country. You saw we have guests from different parts of the world, from New Zealand, from Africa. It's all connected, and you're not alone. This is Free PD. This is a Fantastic Four. We need you to be part of this show. Not just me, but Coach Hurd, Shika, Tammy, Principal Cafele, myself. Here, we're all together, and you know what? It's free. It's free. You don't have to get a PO. And I don't know about other states, but in Texas, we owe a lot of money. All of these districts, a district I came from released 300 team members. 300 team members. You're not alone. This is Free PD. You don't have to get your principal to sign it. You don't have to send that PO to your area chief financial officer and they ask you what the TEECs are and why are you spending this money. It's all free. You have all these podcasts. You have everything available for you. Don't be alone. Enjoy your summer. Get all of these resources. Read all of these books. They're there for you because you know what? The best version of yourself will only create the best version of our students, and they are the future of this country. This beautiful melting pot that's known as the United States, where you can have immigrants come and lead a school. It's all bonded via our work, our love, and our passion. So don't forget to join us. Like it and share it. Please, before you hang up, like and share the show with these awesome ideas, these awesome panel. And don't forget to join us next week. The Superintendent Roundtable, 3 superintendents. I think I got a 4th one for our roundtable. And after that, we're going to have the Assistant Principals Roundtable, 4 from all over the United States. And after that, the Curriculum Show with Eric Francis, Sean Kane, John Corripo, and George Valenzuela. High power. It's all free, guys. And all we need is you. All we need is you to like it and share it and pick our brains, because you know what? Why reinvent the wheel? It's for free. So we need you. Panel, say goodbye to our beautiful audience.
Bye.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
Thank you
Good
for being
love.
here. Don't hang up the call.